Like what?
A reventar.
And that creates a problem for folks. Or when they are dropped off, they must wait for a long time, or they must call the dispatcher several times to be picked up to return home from the provider. It's another issue that we commonly hear about. We also hear from community health workers who serve non-English speaking populations that
Ah,
part of the problem is that when you call the broker, the phone prompts are very long, and they're often only available in English or Spanish, and getting interpretation for other languages is difficult. For example, when you call, one community health worker said, when you call, you have to push one 8 times to get to the point where you're speaking to a person and you can ask for an interpreter. Um, and so that, I mean, we've all dealt with phone menus, and that can be a very frustrating process to go through. We've also heard that, the intake questions may use jargon or unfamiliar terms, and that might be difficult for folks to understand. An example of this is the intake form may ask if the patient is ambulatory. Um, Not everybody knows what ambulatory means. So you could just ask, can the patient walk? And that would make that much simpler. And then we also have a lot of language barriers between drivers, dispatchers, and passengers that creates issues. So we've advocated for several policy changes. Another thing that we did was we created, you can see it here on the left-hand side of the screen, a one-page non-emergency medical transportation explainer. And that is really geared toward letting people know how what they have to be eligible, what an EMT is, and who they have to call. Also, who to call if they're denied a ride, or who to call if there is a complaint or concern, and also what to ask for if you need an urgent care ride. So we try to distribute that. We also have this in Spanish, and we're working on having it translated into some other languages for folks to be able to hand out to people to just do more public education around NEMT. Um, it would be a really good idea if we could partner with providers and community professionals like CHWs and peer support specialists and case managers, to kind of get the word out about NEMT and exactly what they're going to need. It would also be great to update that transportation cabinet website to make that information a little bit easier to find, and
puta el
do
orto.
more social media messaging about the service, including when they have opportunities for surveys and other user engagement. One of the things that happened last year was that there was a customer satisfaction survey or consumer satisfaction survey that was posted on the Department of Transportation's website. Um, and I don't know how it was circulated. We never saw any messaging on social media about it. I just happened to be going to the website one day to look for something and saw that it was posted. And so surveys like that, it would be really helpful if those were distributed more widely so that more folks could take those, so that we could have an accurate picture of exactly what is going on with folks when it comes to NEMT. Another issue that we commonly see is that folks think that they have to have that 72 out, they have to call 72 hours in advance. So, for example, if you have a person who's sick, maybe they have the flu, and they need to be seen by a doctor. They need to get in more than 3 days early. But if they don't have another way to get to the doctor's office, they think they're just stuck, or they call an ambulance and they go to the emergency room. So you can call the broker and tell them that you need an urgent care ride, and those are supposed to be provided within 12 hours. So if you're sick, you need to be seen at an urgent care, or your physician can get you in that day. You should be able to call that number, tell them that you need an urgent care ride, and get a ride that day so that you don't have to call an ambulance or sit at home and have your condition worsen. And we need to let folks know that that's available, because many of them don't. And even when we talk to community professionals, they're not aware that that's what they need to do to get a person a ride quickly. As far as regulatory changes, we could make it simpler for people to show that they can't drive or don't have a vehicle available. Removing that 72-hour restriction would also be helpful. It would be wonderful to standardize implementation and training for brokers, dispatchers, and drivers across all 15 of the service regions. So, for example, if they had a standard intake form and everybody asked for the same information, and that was the information that was put in, it can make things much simpler for folks when they're trying to.
Wow, brother.
https://apps.legislature.ky.gov/law/constitution/constitution/new constitution. RSN equals 84. Section 76 Power of Governor to fill vacancies. He shall have the power, except as otherwise provided in this Constitution, to fill vacancies by granting commissions, which shall expire when such vacancies shall have been filled
Bro,
according
you're
to the
sending me,
provisions
bro.
of this Constitution. Text is ratified on August 3rd, 1891, and revised September 28th, 1891. History, not yet amended.
I wish that y'all could hear this shit. It's
https://apps.legislature.ky.gov/law/constitution/constitution/new constitution. RSN equals 84. Section 76 Power of Governor to fill vacancies. He shall have the power, except as otherwise provided in this Constitution, to fill vacancies by granting commissions, which shall expire when such vacancies shall have been filled according to the provisions of this Constitution. Text is ratified on August 3rd, 1891, and revised September 28th, 1891. History
Needed, but
amended.
they're not on the website for that reason.
Got it. Okay, thanks. And then
That
we
was
did
the
have-
issue on some things. We did have some things that didn't convert over. So
Got it. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll just jump into old business. And the first thing is deciding on an incoming chair, which we'll do in the future. But any updates on the new members coming in?
I can actually give that update. I have been in contact with my contact at the governor's office multiple times over the past few weeks. I've let them know if we could just get one or two more members, we would have enough for a quorum. I believe they currently have one reappointment application pending. And then we have two new members and their applications are pending. So as soon as I hear back from them, I will let you guys know, add them to the meeting cadence. And so that's something we're really been trying to hammer really hard. We're also using our social media platforms to try to start advertising some of the vacant positions that are on this TAC that we don't have pending applications for. So we're trying to do everything that we can to get that word out. We're looking to fill these positions and how to go about filling out that application and getting it submitted. So we're really trying to do everything we can on our side to keep it moving. I follow up about once every 2-ish weeks because I don't want to be on the wrong side of the governor's office harassing them. So I do try to reach out fairly frequently. And so they are aware of the quorum issue. And so they're really trying to work on getting that taken care of for you guys.
Great, thanks. Any questions for Aaron on that? All right, so I thought just at the first of the meeting would be good just to review the purpose of this TAC. And so I pulled some data out from a prior document, and we were established in November 2020. Our objectives are to review the strategies, policies, and procedures for populations covered under Kentucky Medicaid, to serve as an advisory body for the advancement of health equity and address inequity and reduce disparity gaps, and to make recommendations via the MAC to find ways to advance health equity. So that is why we are convening, just a little reminder. And one of the first things that we had talked about, when I think probably our first or second meeting, was transportation access, because it's such an equity issue for the families we work with that are on Medicaid. And so I connected with Holly Kundal, and if Holly's on, she's going to give us an update on the non-emergency medical transportation sort of status of things from an advocate's perspective and some opportunities. So Holly, you can share screen, or Aaron has your presentation, either one.
I'm fine. Aaron, do you want me to share screen or would you prefer to do that?
I always leave that up to the presenter. So you're welcome to share your screen. You are a co-host.
Let me do. Why can I never find that share screen button when I need it?
Bottom middle.
There it is.
And
It's
if you're,
green.
yeah, mine always moves, so I completely understand.
Okay, that's the screen. We're going to share that. We're going to put this into presentation. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes, I can see it. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thanks, Julia. So my name is Holly Hudnall, and as Julia said, I'm with Kentucky Voices for Health. I'm the Community Engagement and Education Director here at KVH. And for any of you that don't know, Kentucky Voices for Health is a consumer advocacy organization that's focused around healthcare, and we do a lot of policy work around healthcare in the state, trying to make sure that folks have accessible, equitable, high quality health care no matter what part of the state that they're in. And we know that we've done a lot of talking to folks about transportation. And so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that today. Just for a little context on NEMT, which is non-emergency medical transportation, it is a covered benefit for Medicaid members. So that part, Medicaid members fall under DMS, but NEMT is implemented by the Kentucky Department of Transportation. So we have two entities kind of that are in the mix when we talk about NEMT. And the Department of Transportation contracts with 8 different brokers in the 15 regions of the state. And those brokers are paid a capitated rate to provide transportation services to Medicaid members. So what that basically means is in each one of the regions, they calculate how many Medicaid members there are. That number of members is multiplied times the rate. And then that's what the brokers are paid to provide those transportation services. And on this slide, you can see how the different regions are broken down and who the different providers are. The Transportation Cabinet has publicly available information about NEMT delivery, and I have some links here. I believe that you guys will receive the slides, so those links are live. The last NEMT report that is available there is